Everybody, welcome to Sound Bombing. I created this show for people who want to experience a radical, life-changing journey through the sounds of my diverse guests. I hope that each sound you hear on this show will strengthen your faith, encourage your dreams, and challenge you to awaken the greatness within you.
Drop the bombs. Drop the bomb. We're gonna drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We're gonna drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. We come to drop the bomb. Drop the bomb.
This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new values, and a new experience.
LaMarr, Darnell Shields.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time of the day it is and whatever day you decided to listen. I just want to thank you for tuning into this show. I created this show for people like you, people that want to know how to overcome these amazing obstacles. And so today's show is dedicated to you. But before I get started, we want to thank Greg Kilstrom. Greg nailed it last week. If you're following the shows, Greg did an amazing job, and I'm so honored and grateful that he joined me in the Bomb Shelter last week. We talked about so much information that's really, really going to help you all in the field of business and entrepreneurship and, creating your, the individual that you want to be during this pandemic. So shout out to Greg Kilstrom. Check him out. He's amazing. And then now to all of my new bombers in the community, if you are new to the show, yay, welcome to the best hour online right now. And I'm saying it not because I'm amazing, but because I bring on some amazing guests and because you decided to spend some time with me, and I don't want to waste your time. So my old heads, I'm sure you already know what time it is. We always start our show with our 3 breaths. And so I want to encourage you to get in a comfortable position if you would like. Kick your shoes off, put your feet on the floor and feel the ground, feel the floor, feel the grass if you're outside. If you're driving, we ask you not to do this. Or if you want to pull over and join us, you can do that. So what we want to do is my third graders say, sit up, sit back, roll your shoulders back and relax. Put your palms on your lap, palms facing up in the position of receiving, because there's a metaphor about holding your hands out to receive. And so we're going to take our 3 breaths. Our first breath is 3 seconds. So inhale, inhaling through our nose, hold it for 3 seconds. Go a little deeper on the second breath, 5 seconds. Inhale through your nose. Let it out of the mouth. This time we go a little deeper. We're going to go 10 seconds. So inhale through your nose. Hold it. And let it out. What is that called? That is called the breath of life. And we love to start our show that way because we want to create the foundation. We want to bring our energy. We want to bring our chi up. We want to bring our chakras up. We want to bring our spirit up. We want to bring our energy up. And so we always start out with our breaths because our breath says to us that we are here. So welcome today and thank you for joining me. So let's get started. People often think about wellness in terms of physical health, nutrition, exercise, weight management, etc. But it is so much more. Wellness is a holistic integration of physical and mental and spiritual well-being, fueling the body, engaging the mind, and nourishing or nurturing the spirit. Although it always includes striving for health, it's more about living life fully and is a lifestyle and a personalized approach to living life in a way that allows you to become the best kind of person that your potentials, your circumstances, and your faith will allow. See, today our guest will tell us today about how we will give that attention to all the interdependent dimensions of wellness, as sometimes we neglect some of them over the time. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Elena Martinez. She's a self-discovery empowerment coach helping the outer and the inner travelers who seek greater well-being and personal fulfillment to discover themselves powerfully so that they can start living life to the max. As a person who has traveled the world as a flight attendant, the opportunity has helped her learn and see so much, and she's discovered the most fabulous place for us all to see that is truly the key to a greater well-being. She is the founder of the Live to the Max, Viva al Maximo, the author of Creating a Lifetime of Wellness. Start having the life you deserve. And the second book, which is a journal entitled Creating Lifetime of Wellness, your personal coach to the different areas of your life. I would like to welcome to the Sound Bombing Studios and to the Bomb Shelter, Aura E. Martinez. Bienvenidos. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me here. It is an honor.
Well, I am honored that you decided to hang out with me today because I'm sure you are so busy with all of the tragedy that's taking place around the country, from COVID to racial unrest, to hurricanes, to fires, to everything that's taking place, to teachers having to teach at home, to parents having to quote unquote homeschool, to all of these things taking place. So let me just tell you this, Aura. Our listeners are waiting for you to let us know what we need to do. But before we do that, let us know where you are calling from and let us know how you are doing.
I am actually in the Bronx, New York.
The Boogie Down Bronx in the building, the home of hip hop music. Yes.
Yes. And oh my gosh, for anybody that is wondering if they are the only ones going through this turbulent moment, I am right there with them. I am right there with them. This is one of the most craziest and challenging times. I take it day by day. And I look up. And when I say I look up, I mean I look at the positive. I look at what this time is meant for me, which is what I encourage everyone to do. Because when it's turbulent, I think that it's so easy for us to think that our life is crumbling. And it may seem like that and feel like that at times. But when things seem to be crumbling, it's because there is new to be born. There are wonders to be born. And when I say that I am with everyone in this turbulent moment, I mean, I'm also in the airline industry. And the airline industry right now is one of those industries that is getting hit very, very hard. And I think at this point, every industry is getting hit hard in one way or another. And so we are being called to pivot. We are being called to be more. We are being called to give more. And so it is that time for us to tap into ourselves so that we can access that resource within us. Because it's in each and every one of us.
Let me just tell you, I could listen to you all day. If I got on the plane, and I haven't been on a plane in a very long time, I love to fly, and you told me to sit down, buckle up, and I would just sit there and just be so relaxed. I don't care where we were going. I don't care where the plane was going, if we were late, if we were on time. Just listening to you, and I just imagine you all right now as we're getting on the plane and you're telling us what we need to be doing. If you're flying the plane, if you're the flight attendant, if you're the custodian, just the fact that you have such a great, your energy, I can feel it, and I can just feel the spirit coming through these airways right here, across the internet. So I could just listen to you all day, and I'm sure my listeners like, yes, where does she go? I need to fly with her. Because some of these people in on the airlines, they are losing their mind. And it. I'm sure you have tons of stories that you can share. And I've been grounded since December. I think the last flight I took was July. I was in the air once a month. But I'm ready to go back. But I guess the people that I'm working for, they're not ready to bring us back. So I get it. So again, I could listen to you all when you say, unbuckle your seatbelts. And we're about to land right now. So thank you. But before we get into all the great things you're doing, I cannot not talk about the perfect name for what you do. Aura E. Martinez. Where did the name come from? And is the name, this is a perfect name for what you do. So you walking in your destiny, sister.
Thank you so much for your words. My name actually was supposed to be my mom's name. And what happened was that in the birth certificate, they mixed up my mom's name. So rather than being Aura Elena, they wrote Elena Aurora. And so she said to herself, if I ever have a daughter, I'm going to name her what I was supposed to be named. And it's Aura Elena. So that's how the name came about.
And what a great name when you talk about an aura, and in particular for the work that you are doing, it is right in line with everything. Like one of my good friends, her name is Jennifer Powers, and she's a life coach. I mean, that is a great name. My assistant's name is Betty Blaze, and everybody said, is that your real name? Think about the name. So I just love the name, and it falls right in line with what you're doing. So let's start with your story. How did you get started on your wellness journey, and how has it been thus far?
It had been bumpy, and it all started with frustration, actually. This is why I'm a believer that your frustration is your liberation. And I'm a believer that our emotions are nothing more than information from the soul. So I remember when I hit 30, I became very frustrated, almost restless, but I didn't understand where that came from. And mind you, I didn't have any reason to feel that way. I mean, because I have a nice job, a nice life, but something wasn't sitting right with me. And so it wasn't until I decided to sit with that frustration, to understand it, and just relax, ease into it, as crazy as that may sound, but it's not crazy. When we ease into whatever it is that we're feeling, we let go of the resistance that we may have of what we're feeling. And so the message that I got was, you're meant to be doing more. I mean, what you're doing is nice, but I have more for you. And so I said, okay, relaxed into it. I actually started out as a wellness and life coach. And I was helping people get out of the sugar roller coaster that they were in. And
wait, did you say the sugar roller coaster?
Oh, yes. It was
I'm so glad that you brought that up. Because I've been a vegan since 93, and one of my teachers that I met, he came to visit us in college, and his name is Vergis, and he's a homeopathic doctor. And Aura, I remember him telling us, and he worked in drug treatment, and he said it was more challenging getting people to stop using sugar than it was for them to using some of the drugs that they were actually using. And I was so blown away. And I think about, at a very young age, we are introducing sugar to our children. I remember when we took our first child to our doctor, our homeopathic doctor, and when she was being weaned off of nursing, and we gave her some oatmeal. And he said, well, what did you put in the oatmeal? And her mom was like, well, we put sugar in it. And I'll never forget my doctor saying this, Aura. He said, did she ask for that? And it blew me away, because I'm like, if she would have asked for that, believe me, we would have been making a whole lot of money on the road, because this child at this very young age being able to talk. But that sugar, I mean, that destroys us. I mean, it really, really does. So to hear you say that early on is very important, because again, people don't realize it's almost in everything. I just shared this with my own children. When I'm going into the store and I'm looking at these labels, salt and sugar are in, they're right up front, even though, these things are supposed to be quote unquote healthy, but they toss sugar in it. Go ahead.
Well, sugar, and not to get off topic, but just really quick, since you mentioned this, sugar is actually very addicting.
Yes.
It's just as addicting as cocaine, believe it or not. And so sugar is hidden in so many different ways. And sugar is also used as a preservative. So I guess they would say it's healthy, because I guess sugar would be healthier, quote unquote, than a lot of these preservatives that are very harmful for the body. But going back to the question, that's how I started out. I started helping people get out of the sugar roller coaster. And
what were you doing? Explain to me and to our audience, What were you doing to get them off this sugar roller coaster?
I used to offer a program called the Sugar Buster Program. And so they would get coached not just by me, but also by Dr. Karen Wolf. And they will learn about stress. They will learn about all these different factors that also play a role in the choices that we make when it comes to food. And they will be encouraged to take supplements, to eat lots of greens, to drink lots of water, because a lot of times the water intake isn't even there. The greens isn't even there. And so we need the greens. We need the nutrients. We need all of that. And so, that's what I was doing before. And I realized that some of the clients that I would have, they came to me not because they needed help losing weight. They wanted to eat better, but they knew how to eat better. But there was something else that wasn't allowing them to eat healthy. And that's when I realized how important it is that we have this intimate relationship with ourselves, that we get to know ourselves, because it is when we don't get to the core of who we are to understand what leads to the behaviors that we have, that we keep repeating the same thing over and over again.
And so what is that process to help people to develop this intimate relationship with themselves?
I always encourage them to take time for themselves. Just like we would have our time with our friends, with our family, it's so important that we give ourselves that time for ourselves. So of course, when I'm in a session with a client, it's all about the client, but I also encourage them on their own to give themselves that time, to journal, to reflect upon how they're feeling, what's going on with them, how or why certain things trigger them the way it does. Because it's so easy for us to connect with others, but so many times we forget to connect with ourselves. We need to give ourselves that time to understand what's going on within. And so it's asking ourselves those powerful questions that I encourage people to do so that they can get the answers that they need.
So walk me through some of those questions. What are some of the questions that my listeners and myself should be asking ourselves? Because I believe questions are very, very powerful, just as much as important as the answer. So walk us through, and listeners, I want you to grab a pen or grab your phone, but I want you to walk us through some of the questions that we should be asking ourselves.
So the first thing is, first, meet yourself where you're at. And I'm going to use this as an example. So if you find yourself in frustration, you got to meet yourself where you're at. That's what is going on for you. So it's very important that first and foremost, we know where we're at and identify what is going on within. So you're frustrated. Okay, why are you frustrated? What led you to that frustration? This is just an example, okay? What led you to that frustration? What can you do in order to change that feeling? What will your ideal life be like? What are some of the things that make you happy? What are some qualities that you admire? See, that is a very important question, whether we realize it or not, because it means that the qualities that we admire, they're already within us. It's just a matter of us bringing it out.
So as you started this journey, and these are some great questions, and I'm sure you're probably going to have some more, but as you started this journey, you started to ask yourself these questions. What were some of the struggles that you encountered along the way? Because I think a lot of times are the people I bring on, and I bring on some very high performing people. And of course, people, when they look at us, you and I and other people, they see our stuff, but they don't see the sacrifice that we've gone through. You know what I mean? So they see they see the other side of our struggle. And a lot of times people don't want to share their stuff. They're like, oh, do this, read this, do that. And they're like, so what have you done? Well, I didn't have to go through anything. Well, what I'm loving about you is that you're talking about those things. So what are some of the struggles that you had to encounter along the way as you started to discover who you were? And what are some things to you when you start to ask yourself some of the questions that you're asking the audience members right now to ask of themselves?
One of the things that I struggled with was trusting myself, and also self-confidence. And when we do not trust ourselves, it can make the journey of going within much more challenging. And that's when I had to question myself in terms of, okay, so why don't I trust myself?
I was going to ask you, that's a great question. I was going to ask you, so
Yeah.
what was going on inside of you, or what happened to you maybe in your family childhood that taught you not to trust yourself?
For me, it was me removing the gunk that was covering me. See, sometimes we have gunk that we don't realize that is covering our true essence. So sometimes we carry on, whether that is a cultural messages or society messages, or, I mean, a whole host of things. And so, well, growing up in the Bronx, I have to say that when you grow up in what's considered the ghetto, you almost as if you being who you are isn't very well embraced. What do I mean with that? So it makes me sometimes sad to see how in certain communities, the more bad you are, it's just an example, the more you are, yeah, you're cool and whatnot. Not that I was ever a bad person, but what I'm trying to say is...
No, I get it. I grew up in Chicago, very big city, just like New York, and people typically, I always say, people are always bragging about how rough and their neighborhood. They'll never say, "Oh, my neighborhood, we had trees, we had flowers." So I was like, no, my hood or my body, we had the projects and we had this. And so you're right, it's this stigma of having to promote the negativity about the communities that we've come from.
Yeah. And when we are not careful as to what is ours and what is others, we can lose ourselves in the process. And so it is so important that we always, always, always give ourselves that time to really get to know ourselves, really get to know what is ours and what isn't. I think that any kind of baggage, I like to call them baggages, any issues, can come from so many different sources, especially nowadays. Nowadays, you don't even need your neighborhood to give you issues. All you need is social media. It's the truth, though. And so now more than ever, we need to be so aware. Awareness is key so that we can decipher what is ours and what isn't. What is my true voice and what isn't. And so this is why it's very important that you find your own definition of happiness, your own definition of success, your own definition of what's cool. Because the more you dig in for your own definition, the more you're going to be in alignment with your true essence, which is your soul. And that is the key to greater well-being. That is the key for all the puzzles, the pieces of the puzzles to come together. That is the key to happiness.
So I love that you use happiness. I want to go back to, you talked about happiness and you talked about one of the first steps, and that was going to lead into my next question. You said understanding your soul. So what are some of the steps toward creating a lifestyle or a lifetime of wellness? Because again, like you and like me, this is a lifestyle. It's not something that I just, hey, I woke up, this is what I want to do. It is a lifestyle. It's a life choice. So what are some of those steps of creating a lifetime or a lifestyle of wellness for those individuals who, like you, who grew up in these barrios, who grew up very, very poor, very disparate communities, but just not even those individuals, because I want to be real clear to my listeners. You don't have to grow up in these rough neighborhoods to not feel good about who you are, even though you've had quote unquote everything, whatever everything actually means. So it's not just the people who are living below the poverty line, but there are people we know or who also are living above the poverty line. You see them on a plane every day and they're nasty. They engage you or in just negative ways. Walk me through some of the steps that we should start doing to create this this lifetime of wellness. You've already started by talking about the questions, and I think that those questions are very, very important. I hope you all wrote those questions down. But walk me through the steps of creating this wellness lifestyle.
First and foremost, connect with yourself. You need to connect with yourself. And when I say that, give yourself the time to get to know you, because it is impossible for you to create anything in your life when you don't have basic understandings of yourself. And some of the basic understandings, which is one of the things that I cover in the book, Creating a Lifetime of Wellness, is it's important for you to understand what your needs are. What your needs are in every area of your life. So what do you need out of friendships? What do you need out of a companion? What do you need out of a job? Yes, I even said that, out of a job. Why? Because not every job is suitable for everyone. And because job is a place that we spend so much time at, it's so important that you make sure that it is something that you enjoy. Because if you think that work doesn't affect you in other areas of your life, yes, it does. I mean, because it's so draining to be in a job that we do not like. So what do you need out of yourself? That too is very important.
So, or have you ever heard people say, I don't know what I need right now. I just don't know what I need, but I know what's happening right now. I know this is real. I know how I'm feeling is real, but I just don't know what I need right now. I remember sitting down with my daughter, my 19-year-old daughter, and we were talking about school and life and things of that nature. And I said to her, how can I best serve you? And you may not be able to answer the question now, but I want to throw this out there to you to say, how can I best serve you? And I said, you may not know it. And so what do you say to individuals who just say, I know I'm in a funk. I know I don't feel great. I know I feel depressed. I know this doesn't feel good, but I don't really know what I need. Even if it walked up to me and knocked on the door and say, knock, 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 I'm what you need. And I may say, I don't even know if this is what I actually need.
I like to go from big to small. So what do I mean with that? I take it general. So if someone were to tell me, I honestly don't know what I want right now. Okay. I would just ask very general questions, just so that from that answer, that can lead to another question, that can lead to another answer, which will go more specific, that would take me to another answer and another answer until we get to what it is that is needed at the moment. So say, for example, I don't know what I want, but I want to get out of this funk. Okay, just a general question. What would your ideal life be like? Or what would be the perfect thing that can happen to you right now? Or you see how it seems like it's not even related. It's very, general, but then from there we can get something out of it. And then get something out of it until we can get to the core, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I think, you pushing people and asking them, pushing and pulling rather, and asking them, so if your life was this way, how would you feel? What would it feel like? Who would be around you? And I think that we should do more of that, because like I do, and again, I'm using you as an example of being in the air, there's a lot of people feeling anxious. Anxiety is at an all-time high. Depression is at an all-time high. The way we feel about ourselves. And so these conversations are really, really important to know. And I'm assuming that that's probably why you decided to create Live to the Max, Viva al Maximo. Can you talk to us about what the Live to the Max actually is, and someone who decides to participate in this process with you, how should they come out at the end of this entire process working with you?
So Live to the Max, Viva al Maximo, the whole purpose of it is for people to connect with themselves. To me, when you understand who you are, when you do that inner journey, that is what's going to lead you to live to the max. Because then from there, because you understand yourself, you will know what steps you need to take in your life. Now, is it that are you asking me, just so I can be specific, are you asking me what it is that I offer? How can someone
Yeah. So what do you offer in this particular program that you have? And then sort of what are some of the findings? What are people discovering about themselves after they finish the Live to the Max program?
So the Live to the Max is actually the company.
The company. Okay. Okay. There we go.
Yes. And I offer coaching programs. So I offer the Discover You, which is a 90-day specific program for them to discover them, and I meet them where they're at. Then I also offer the Roadmap program, which is very specific in terms of them learning how to read their own inner map. I believe that each and every one of us have an inner map, but we find ourselves lost because we don't know how to read that inner map. And then I offer the 30-day program, which is the Elevate You program, which is just a smaller version of the Discover You program.
Oh, I love that. And so the Discover You program and the Live Your Map program, what are you discovering about the people that you're working with? Are you discovering that many of the people are dealing with some of the same issues, or are people all over the place? You're seeing a variety of issues with just certain types of people.
The common thread is that they're not connected with themselves. I mean, it's all over the place, but the common thread is they're not connected with themselves. See, when we're not connected with ourselves, inevitably, we're not going to know what choices to make. Inevitably, we're not going to know what path we're supposed to take. And so this is why I keep saying the answer is within you, understanding yourself, you knowing who you are, you knowing what you're all about. And if you don't mind me sharing with you, apart from the coaching program, I also offer a journal. That journal in and of itself, it's like having me for like a whole entire year, but you're doing it all by yourself in your own pace, because there are prompts there and questions meant to dig deeper. There's also a sleep journal there. I hope you don't mind. It probably went off topic for a minute.
No, you're right. You're going. No, this is important because I was going to actually go into the Creating a Lifetime of Wellness book.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. So the journal includes a food diary. It includes a sleep journal, because that's the thing. It's impossible for us to even feel well when our body isn't right. Every single part of us matters. The spirit, the mind, the emotion, everything. And so that just basically covers every topic that I have discussed in the book, Creating a Lifetime of Wellness, but condensed in terms of a coaching sense.
So how is this work or different from being a flight attendant, or is it very similar?
In terms of, you mean like what I do?
Yeah. So what you do is so how is it different or similar to what you do for the airline industry? The work that you're doing with your company, as well as being a flight attendant.
I love to travel. Who doesn't? It's so beautiful to travel, because as we travel, we grow, we learn. As travelers, we tend to be very curious to see the good, the bad, the ugly of a city, of a country. And one of the things that I discovered as a flight attendant in the process is that I had the best country in the world to visit that I never really took a chance, but that path led me to the path of realizing the most important country to visit, and that's the country of self. Mm. And so the same thing that we do when it comes to us traveling the world, we get curious about cultures and the language and the dialect and the food and the good and the bad and the ugly. We need to be willing to go there with ourselves. So we need to be willing to see the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the intriguing. There's so many parts of us and who we are that makes us so delicious, that makes us so exquisite, that makes us so interesting, that when we're willing to go there, we come out more confident. We come out more grounded. We come out finally with answers that we've been seeking.
Well, in your travels across the globe and also with your travels with your clients, where do you feel is true fulfillment found?
It's within. Hands down, it's within. See, when we do not feel peace and good and fulfilled from within, we can be in the best country in the world and we will not be able to appreciate the beauty, because the problem is not without. It's not that the problem is within, but the change has to happen within. And as a matter of fact, it's a great thing that the quote unquote problem, because I don't think it's a problem, it's just it's like a tap in the shoulder. Hey, I need your attention. Hey, it's a beautiful thing that it is within, because that means that when we do the shift within, we can be wherever and wherever we will feel good.
So speaking of feeling good, in your book, Creating a Lifetime of Wellness, I know you have a chapter entitled Embrace and Adapt to the Changes of Life. So how can someone actually do this, especially with all the chaos that's going on around us right now?
The first thing is to be aware of the season that you're in your life. That is extremely important. And I think it's one of the things that many times we ignore. And when we ignore it because we don't like the season that we're in, we can miss the jewels that season has for us. So this season that we're going through right now is a rough one. It's a rough one for everyone in different ways. And so the way that we can start creating that lifetime of wellness, even in the season, is first to recognize the season that we're living in right now, making sure that we are learning and growing and getting all the jewels that the season has for us. What are some things that you can learn right now? In what way you can grow right now? What is an opportunity that you have now that you didn't have before? Because a lot of people now have time. So for those that have been wanting to do things because they lack the time, well, guess what? Now you have the time. And so as you start collecting all these jewels, your life will start shifting and you will start creating that lifetime of wellness that you have been wanting to seek. What are some things that need to change in your life from now on? That's another question to ask. The more we keep digging and keep getting curious as to in what way can I grow? In what way is this meant to make me better? We're going to be creating the life that we want, if that makes any sense.
And it makes a lot of sense. And I know that my listeners want to continue to have a conversation with you so you can help them down this path by introducing them to your company, Live to the Max, and all the writings, the Creating a Lifetime of Wellness, as well as Creating a Lifetime of Wellness personal coach to the different areas of life. How can my listeners get in contact with you if they want to be one of your clients, if they want to pick up some of your books, and if they want to tap into some of the other conversations that you may be having with some of the other people across the country?
So yes, they can go to www.auraemartinez.com. There they will be able to get the book, get the journal. I also offer 2 courses. I just launched course number 2, Be Your Own Happy Place, which that's a great course. And it's not because I created it. It's just that what is there to learn is just unbelievable. They can follow me on Instagram, Aura Elena Martinez. They can follow me on Facebook, Aura E. Martinez Coach. And there they will be, actually in the website, they will be able to even listen to my podcast. I have a podcast.
Tell them about the podcast.
So yes, so it's the Live to the Max, Viva al Máximo, and it's all about well-being, self-discovery, growth. I talk about different topics. And I do the podcast also in Spanish because I do everything in Spanish and in English. So for those that know someone that speak only Spanish, that is the place to go because they can choose Spanish language and they will have all the resources in Spanish as well.
Yes, si podemos. You got it right there. We got it for you for my Spanish speakers like myself and those other individuals out there. So it's been a pleasure hanging out with my girl from New York City, the home of hip hop, the boogie down Bronx. Who would have ever thought coming out of New York, such great energy? Because the reality is we're always looking at these neighborhoods and say, oh, you know, they have nothing to offer. And I love your story. I love to hear what you're talking about, being a woman of color, elevating this energy. This is so, so needed right now. So I wish you nothing but success. Do you have any closing thoughts for our listeners that are out there?
Go for the inner journey because you have the answers within. Everything that you need. As crazy as that may sound, it is all within. You have more power than you can possibly imagine.
You got the power, like the song says. I got the power. And my girl, Aura Elena Martinez, will help you do that. Thanks for joining me. But before you leave, one of my favorite part of the show is called the Super Bomb Questions. And Aura, these are questions that my listeners want to know more about you. It gives us an opportunity to discover a little more about who you are and what you're doing. And so are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So, Aura, what is your favorite word?
Happiness.
What's your favorite quote, or it can be a Bible or some other spiritual verse?
Psalm 37:4, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you your heart's desires.
What's your superpower?
I seem to understand where people are at the moment.
What's your spirit animal?
Lion.
What moves you to tears of joy?
Oh, when I see my clients get results and get aha moments.
What moves you to tears of sorrow?
Seeing people not live up to their potential.
What do you wish you had more time to do?
To write more, to speak more.
I love it. What is the book or books you've given most as a gift and why?
So right now, I'm promoting my book.
That's right. Give it out. That's right. Giving out your book. Yes.
Yes.
And we know why, because you wrote it.
Yes.
And because it's full of nothing but jewels. My producer read some excerpts from it, and that's how I was prepared for this show. So pick up the book. What's your morning routine like?
Oh, I love listening to positive things, and I read affirmations in the morning.
So, Aura, if you were in the Mrs. America talent competition, standing on stage in front of millions of us to see all over the world, what would your talent be?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. What would my talent be? I guess just giving joy to people, I would say.
Giving joy to people. And Aura Elena Martinez, thank you for bringing the joy to the sound bombing community. Go and pick up her books, Creating a Lifetime of Wellness, Start Having the Life You Deserve, and her journal, Creating a Lifetime of Wellness, your personal coach to the different areas of your life. Listen to our podcast. Gracias. Thank you for joining me today. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you nothing but success.
Oh, thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
And I want to thank my amazing Haitian brother, my engineer, Alexander Blanc, my African sister, Nicole Klempaka, who is my producer, Supremacy for our theme music, and all of you for listening. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, stop being stingy, and share me with your friends. If you want to know more about me, you can visit drdrlds.com, drdrlds.com. And as always, believe something wonderful is about to happen, and that some people miss the message because they're too busy looking for the mess. Thanks for tuning in, and do something for someone other than yourself today. You've been listening to Sound Bombing. Peace.
The Super Bomb questions are brought to you by Mountain Made CBD. Mountain Made is changing the CBD game by offering a line of high-dose CBD tablets at an affordable price. Their products are THC-free and third-party tested for accuracy, cleanliness, and potency. Their products, which ship nationwide include Build for CBD saturation, Boost for precision titration, and Recover for rest and rehab. With 9 years experience in hemp and fitness, Mountain Made's founders are focused on creating a quality product to help those who live an activated lifestyle. Check out mountainmade.life. Again, that's mountainmade.life to find out more about how their products can help you crush life. Remember, their products ship nationwide. Go check out their website today and follow them on social media at Mountain Made. That's the @ MNTMADE. Our staff at Sound Bombing uses Build before a morning workout, which helps to push our bodies to a whole new level on a daily basis. Try Build, try Boost, try Recover. Our staff is using these products to enhance our active lifestyle naturally, and we are crushing life with Mountain Made CBD, and you can too. Start today by going to mountainmade.life and ordering Build, Boost, Recover, or the multitude of other products that they have which will enhance your lifestyle. I promise you, you won't regret it.